Scrying. Ooh. Well, look at me with my fancy intro. Anyway, hello again. Hello again for another Halloweeny Samhain special, because I couldn't make just one video, I had to make two. And yes, you read the title correctly. You did indeed. We're about to create our own DIY Ouija board. Yep, aka spirit board. And here are the components for it. I got a chopping board from 𝒷𝑒𝒶𝓁𝒾𝓃 because that's the only thing I thought looked like a board, a chopping board. Then I had these lovely flourishes, these bits of wood that you're supposed to attach to like furniture and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna get those to make it look fancy. And then, yeah, I slightly misjudged the size when I ordered the planchette, just a little bit, you know, I mean, no big deal. Obviously the stress cat came back. Just got to get my anger out on that poor cat. That poor cat stress ball, it's seen things. It's seen things no one should see. Anyway, big ass planchette. So I'm gonna have to use that for something else, maybe a future project. We'll see. Can't be bothered to send it back. And so I got this. I ordered another one, and it's a much better size. There's a thumbs up for you right there. Yeah, much better. Much better. And then the other components, I got this bracelet from a charity shop. £1? Just £1. How about that? Nice. And I thought I was going to attach the little beads to the bottom of the planchette to make it, you know, smooth and go across the surface easier. Which I end up doing right at the end because I forget about the beads even existing. I have these £4, not bad at all, stamps, alphabet stamps, and then I have this ink pad as well. Look, I can't get into it. I've never seen anyone struggle to open anything as bad as that. How embarrassing. Anyway, alphabet letter stamps, because I thought there ain't no way I'm writing the entire alphabet on that thing. I need some quick way of doing so. So I got myself some stamps and I got myself some ink, this lovely bright white ink, which we'll find out later why that was a bad idea. My faithful pens! My white pens that were totally not a disaster last time, and my metallic pens, of course. And this guy, I told you, I said you will see him again, and there he is. Right, so the first thing I set out doing was painting these wooden roses. And I thought that the gold metallic pens would do the job because they work really well on the back of it. And to be honest, they do work quite well, but in the end I move on to paint really quickly. I'm like, nah. I'm like, it works okay, but I much prefer paint. I discover that I have like proper gold paint and I go mental. So yes, while I'm doing this in the background, let me just address a few things, because I know what you're all thinking right now. I know you're all thinking I'm a crazy lady. You're all thinking, why? Just out of everything under the sun, why a Ouija board? Why? Do you know how dangerous these things can be? Have you seen every horror movie ever made, ever? And the answer to that is yes, I have. I know exactly what I'm getting into. I know. But hear me out, before you all come at me, all right? Before you all tell me that I'm absolutely crazy and stupid and should not be doing this. I just love the aesthetic of Ouija boards, okay? Like, ever since I started doing witchcraft stuff, I've always wanted one. Since the dawn of time. And like the title says, because I'm not lying in the title, I am terrified of ghosts and things like that. And horror films, nah, no way. So I've never got myself a Ouija board ever this whole time, but I'll use everything else. Here's the gold thing I was talking about. Yeah, I just randomly, in all of my paints, I had this random tub of gold enamel paint, I think it was. The fumes coming out of that thing. I should have worn a mask. I don't know why I didn't. I've probably poisoned myself, but I'm making a Ouija board anyway, so I'm probably going to get possessed, so it's fine. You know, I've already started the process to my inevitable doom. Where was I? So yes, I've always wanted a Ouija board. I just love the way they look. I like the whole vibe, the whole aesthetic of them. I love it so much. I love the gothic, I love it so much. So, as a extra way to get creative, I thought, spooky season, scary season, nothing screams scary more than a Ouija board. So let's get creative again, and let's create a Ouija board, because I could have just bought one, but where's the fun in that? I thought, let's have some content and make one of these for myself. Whether I use it or not is a whole other story. As I'm recording this right now, I'm yet to use it. It's the best thing ever, by the way. I love how this turned out, but I've not actually used it yet. And I love it that much, I may use it. Anyway, now we've got these 2 roses with the gold. Oh, the gold, I love it. The gold. Let me tell you, that gold, new favourite thing. So, this guy came back. If you watched my Samhain page making for my Book of Shadows video, this guy was on one of the pages, and he is a picture taken from my favourite ever tarot deck, the Tattoo Tarot. And I just loved him so much on that page that I made that I thought I want to do him again and have him be the main image on the spirit board, because the death card, and we're going to be communicating with the other side, it just made total sense to bring him back into the picture. So yeah, so here I am tracing him on some nice tracing paper, and my plan with this guy is to trace him onto the wooden chopping board. And it didn't go well, which we'll find out when we get to it. Yeah, I thought it'd be so simple. Like, just get some... Oh, look at my fingers, yeah. The curse of being left-handed, that is. My fingers got so much pencil on them. Yeah, so here I am, look, I'm thinking, right, look at this, look how good this is. I'm really feeling it. I'm like, yes. Even without the rest of the roses painted, this looks already awesome. Loving it. So I'm just positioning my little skeleton guy. Just making sure things fit. And then I think... Okay, right, yeah, okay. I didn't have a paint palette, alright? So the next best thing is my pain meds, alright? Don't judge me, alright? Anything can be a paint palette if you want it to be. So yeah, my Nurofen pain meds did the trick. Tell me you're chronically ill without telling me you're chronically ill, I guess. So yes, my plan was to paint the leaves white and the roses black, because I really like the combination of colours, the gold, black and white. I thought that would be just mwah, just chef's kiss. And it is. It is, very much. It was very therapeutic, but at the same time I was scared, because everything I was doing, if I made a mistake, that would be it. That would be done, game over. So I had to do everything so just slowly. I said I wouldn't make another video that's long, but this is how it ends up, okay? Why am I talking a million miles an hour? I've just realised that I'm like non-stop talking really fast. So yeah, look, they're coming together so well. They just keep getting better and better. Oh, tea break. Well, it's not tea break, it's Ovaltine. Do you guys have Ovaltine? Do you like Ovaltine? It's nice, you should try it. Right, so here's the first disaster to go wrong. So I've got my guy ready to go, tracing paper all done, so I've flipped it round and I'm now going to trace him again. So this is the third time, I think. Hang on a minute. No, it's second time that I've traced this guy. And now I'm going in for the third tracing. And I'm just expecting it to work, because I've done this before on other wooden things, where I've done tracing directly onto the wood and it's been fine. And unfortunately for me, not fine, as you'll see in a minute. I've got my big woolly jumper on. It was freezing that day. But yeah, I'm going over this so like carefully and so being so fragile, and it's all for nothing. It's all for nothing. I've literally just spoken so much that the entire video could have been done by now. Anyway, here we go. So I'm peeling off this sticky tape to make it flat, and then I realise there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Look at my hand. My hand was about to just smash that table right there. There you go, stress cat, back at it again. Yeah. Take all the anger out on the cat. I told you I wasn't a cat person, didn't I? Yeah. Poor cat. Thoughts and prayers for the stressed cat. So, I have another drink. Gotta get that fuel. Gotta get that caffeine dose inside. So I'm thinking to myself now, how on earth am I going to do this? Because I don't want to not have this guy. I've just spent so much time working on it. So I'm like, fine then, fine, you got me. I'm going to do it all just by hand. I'm just going to do it all without tracing. I'm just going to copy it as best as I can. It's all I could do at the time, and I was like, great, here we go. Trying to trace it without any help. And I actually do a really good job, I think. He doesn't end up being exactly the same. I do the thing that I normally do a lot of, which is I kind of change little bits here and there, if I'm doing it freehand anyway. I kind of make the design work better, because I need somewhere to put the goodbye at the bottom. I like realised that part way through. So there you go. You can just see it in the light. You can just see it. I've changed the bottom of him to have this like decorative border, and then placed the heads that were in the image all like at the side instead of where they're meant to be. That's me getting super excited to use the stamps. I haven't really done stamps before, not properly. So yeah, this is me getting all these alphabet stamps in order and trying to figure out where on earth I'm going to fit all of these letters. Because the skeleton dude, as cool as he is, I didn't really mean to make him as large as he is. So I didn't leave myself much room to work with to put the actual important elements of the Ouija board on there, which is the alphabet, and I needed numbers, and I needed a yes and a no, and I needed a goodbye. And I did not give myself space to do that. Because I'm improvising again, that's how I do things, that's just how I roll. I improvise my way through it and hope for the best. Not the best way to live. But yeah, you know, I've got a good track record actually. Improvising seems to work for me. I mean, I make things 10 times harder than they need to be, but it always ends up working out in the end. So yeah, here's me trying to figure out the order of the letters. So I'm definitely going for the whole like split them in half vibe, which I've seen on some spirit boards before. And then I realised I'm kind of a couple of letters off, but then I thought the image kind of has a bit of room on that right hand side to just squeeze in those extra 2 letters. And that's when I decide, yes, that's the layout that I'm going to go for. So now the very, very scary part, which was my pens. That is me willing my pen to work. I am literally like, I am begging for this pen to work after what happened with the whole Samhain page. I'm so scared at this point. Because literally, if I get one thing wrong, that's it. The whole thing is ruined. And I'll have spent money on a chopping board and all these things for nothing if I get anything wrong. So it was like, starting it was so scary. I hated it. But the pen worked out perfectly. It did a fantastic job. I was surprised actually just how well it did work. I'm skipping along. You can see that I've edited it to be a bit quicker, or else we would have been here for 10 hours or something ridiculous like that. My tappy fingers at it again. So yeah, there's my skeleton dude in white. And then I'm going in with the black pen next, I think. Going in with the black thing. Where have I gone? There I am. Black pen, I'm also willing this one to work. I'm like, I haven't used you for quite some time, black pen, so please work. Work on the wood and work. And the black pen was amazing actually. It was so much better than the white one. It stands out way more. And I was so happy. So yeah, you can see the shiny black is really nice. And I like how in certain light, it's like the skeleton vanishes almost in certain light, and then in other light it really pops. So it kind of almost reminds me of an X-ray. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I'm just very slowly, very, very, very carefully trying to draw this skeleton's, all the different details. Because like I said, if I get one thing wrong, that's it, game over. So I very, very, very slowly, very, very carefully make my way through the skeleton image as best that I can. And it's so cool. Tappy tappy fingers. I'm thinking about it. There it is. Willing this one to work as well. Because I've got no idea, you see. I had no clue how any of these pens would look or if they'd even work on this board. Because it has like a glossy surface. So I was so scared to start. Look. My hands are just like, I can't do this, I can't. What if I get it wrong? I can't. I'm so shaky as well. That's half the battle, is I shake a lot. Like, I have really unsteady hands, so how I got this done, I have no clue. So yeah, the silver pen worked amazingly as expected. Never lets me down. Never lets me down, that pen. And again, in certain light, it's so cool. I'm obsessed with shiny things. So I'm going back in with the white to do these, what are they called? Severed heads, I guess. So yeah, coming back in with the white and black theme to do these heads. It's weird because like the skeleton, because I chopped off the bottom part of the skeleton, and so he hasn't got his scythe anymore, his like big scythe weapon thing. So because he's just got that one long stick, it looks like he's just holding a stick. To me, it looks like a rowboat. Just stick with me on this, okay? Stick with me on the thought process. There's me trying to show the shiny and how it looks in different light. Very cool. Yeah, he looks like he's holding like an oar from like a boat. He looks like he's boating. He looks like a ferry person, a ferryman. And then that's when I suddenly thought, hang on a minute. Isn't that the guy that takes people when they die to the underworld and all that stuff? He looks like that guy, right? It kind of it's just giving that vibe of that ferry person who takes you across that river. Like, the name escapes me, but you know what I mean. That guy. So that's my excuse. That's my excuse for not having the scythe bit. It's because he is now the ferryman, ferrying people from one life to the next. And I used the gold pen, and again, it worked perfectly. Just that little bit of extra gold in there because my decorations have gold paint, so I wanted just a bit of gold in there somewhere. So his stick was the perfect thing. And I'm doing it so carefully. This is sped up, by the way. This is sped up. Just think about that for a second. This is sped up. And yet I'm so slow. Thumbs up from me. Yes, well done, past me. You did well. I am proud of you, past me. We're getting there slowly but surely. I've changed outfits, don't mind that, it's fine. Yes, it did take me the course of a few days to make. Had to keep coming back to it. But yeah, look at it, so shiny, so nice. And that little decorative space at the bottom for the goodbye text. So then I randomly had this idea to do witch alphabet and write the word Ouija on it, because this is a Ouija board after all, and I didn't have space at the top to write that down like you see on some board designs, so I just thought it'd be a cool little Easter egg, cool little detail to add in there. And then at the top I put my name in witch alphabet, like my old Book of Shadows. where I had my name in witch alphabet. And then I added a bit of secret protection, so I added a protection symbol. Just there on that bit, and then on the other bit, trying to remember what I did. What did I do? I think it was another protective symbol, or... Oh no, hang on, it was a rune, I think, that means death or something like that. So just little details. Oh yeah, and then the fun starts, then the fun part happens. You can see how excited I am just by my hand movements. I was, when I first did that letter, I was like, no way, it works, are you kidding? And this was so much fun. I was obviously terrified because, like, one wrong move and it's over. But yeah, this ink and these stamps, they worked so well. I was so happy. I was so happy. I got so hyper when I started doing these. Like, all of a sudden, it was like screaming spirit board. And I was like, yes, this is the spirit board of my dreams. I am creating a unique, very, very, very unique, personal spirit board that only I can use and only I have. And I was so happy. Oh, little smudge, but I fixed it. I sorted it out. Yeah, the thing is, I do like to make my own things if possible. Like, my wand is a really good example of where, just when you do it yourself, when it's like something you create from scratch by hand and it's just yours, your unique thing that you've made, it makes the object what it is. It just makes it so much more special. Just so much more special to, like, use and own, because you know that you've built it from the ground up, literally. I could have very, very easily just bought one, but the fact that I've made it myself just makes it just like a million times better. So yes, still planning the letters out. They're a bit wonky, you can see they're wonky, they're not perfect, but I actually love the fact that they're not perfect, which is such a very not correct thing for me to say because I'm such a perfectionist. Like, normally I would hate the fact that they're not completely just neat and tidy, but there was just something about them being wonky that made it so much better, in my opinion. There's just something about it, I don't know why. I think it just gives it that extra this is handmade feeling. And I think the wonky text almost makes it kind of have a more spookier vibe, just in general as well. It looks more spooky because they're not all neat and tidy. But yeah, I was loving this. I was having a right good time. I had my music on, you know, my Spotify, blasting out some good tunes. I was singing along. Hence not having the sound on this, because nope, I'm not going to show you that. And I was just having a right blast. Adding all of these letters. Trying very, very hard not to smudge anything or get anything too wonky. Just a little bit wonky, we can deal with that, that's fine. And I'll tell you why this best part of the board ended up becoming the worst part of the board. I'll tell you when we get there. Yeah, happy hands, yeah. The only way I can show my excitement is by having my hands do jazz hands. Jazz hands! Oh yeah, I had to have a little tiramisu break as well. The little tiramisu break. Do you like tiramisus? I love tiramisus. They're my favourite thing to eat. Why did I eat it on camera though? Anyway. Now it's the time to paint the roses black. And I was quite nervous about painting the roses black because, as I say, I had no idea how things would turn out. And it was, again, quite therapeutic to do this. I had to keep going back and forth, you see. I had to let everything dry, you see. I had to let the board dry, then I had to let the roses dry, then I had to go back to the board, back to the roses. And ta-da! The end result of the roses! So cool, very gothic, very good. I like them. I love them. And this is what they look like on the board. So I added some highlights too, which I did not plan on doing. It just happened. My hand just glided towards the silver pen and I couldn't help myself. And that's when I realised pigment ink and they don't dry.
And release all of those sounds that are trapped in your mind.
Yep. So the ink that I used was pigment ink, and anyone who knows about stamping stuff, which I certainly did not, pigment ink, you don't want to really get that unless you emboss it first, and you're meant to heat dry it, and you're meant to do all sorts of stuff, and you're not meant to put it on glossy surfaces. And I did everything you should not do with a stamp. So I was then met with a really big problem, which is they don't dry, if at all. They take like days, weeks to dry. And I was on a time crunch. I'm supposed to be getting this out on Samhain, alright? So I had to do everything from now on without touching those letters. So that was a great inconvenience to me. So I've put my numbers on now, and I don't have stamps for the numbers. I thought I'd freehand everything else. That was the plan, just freehand everything else. So I've done some kind of gothic looking typography numbers here at the bottom. Managed to squeeze those in. This is what the board's looking like now, looking good. And I've managed to squeeze goodbye in that tiny space. I don't really like the goodbye. I hate that. That's the only part of it that I'm disappointed with. So I go in with the gold pen and this little groove that it had, this little like random carved groove it had in the board. I thought it'd look cool if I added some more gold. Just add gold flourish to try and bring it together more. This was very therapeutic. So yeah, future advice for anyone wanting to stamp stuff: don't buy pigment ink, just buy normal ink. And don't use glossy surfaces if you're using pigment ink. That's something I found out while making this. I learned something. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the goodbye. I hated that. I hate the goodbye so much. I do go back to it a couple of times and I kind of get it in a bit more of a place that I like it. But yeah, it's the one part of the board that I was not happy with. But by the end, I was a lot more content. So yeah, there we go. Looking good. We're getting there very slowly. As the letters dry incredibly slowly. They do dry eventually. Thank God for that. But it was so hard having to work around them that whole time. I was on a time schedule. I couldn't just sit and let them dry. I had to keep working on it. So next I come to the bottom corners. And a lot of Ouija boards when I was kind of looking on Pinterest and just online, looking for design ideas. A lot of boards had moths on them, especially the moths that have that kind of, they look like they have skulls on them because of the way that their colours are on them. And yeah, I really liked that. I was originally going to do just like a giant moth as the design piece in the middle, but I didn't. So I wanted to include these moths just somewhere. So those two bottom corners were ideal for that. So back at it again with the white pen and the black pen. And trying to emphasize the skull in the middle of it. I think I could have done them a bit better. I'm not 100% satisfied with the moths. I think I could have done a lot better than that, but it's the way that it ended up. And there you go. 2 moths at the bottom. And then with those on it, it kind of comes together really well. Yeah, so now as my fingers are tapping, I'm thinking about the yes and the no. Which again, just by hand drawn. I had to go back to my typography days when I used to be good at typography, but not so much anymore. So yeah, I had to come up with a font, my own weird kind of gothic-y looking font. And I'm really quite happy with the yes and no. The numbers and stuff as well, they were really good. I tried to make the numbers and the letters the same sort of style. And it ended up, I like it. Ended up well. I thought because everything else was white, the black would be ideal for the yes and no, just to make them stand out a bit more. And you can see my problem is I'm trying so hard to not touch the letters because they're still really wet and they just will not dry. So I'm having to really awkwardly go around and try not to smudge them. So that's the downside, because I think I could have done just the tiniest little bit better if I didn't have that obstacle of trying to get around. Yeah, look, you can see what I'm doing here. I'm even thinking now I'm gonna have to turn the board upside down and do it that way. Because if I smudged one of those letters, I would have died, I would have cried, I would have left the planet. That would have been the end. Not just for the project, but for me too. No way was I coming this far to only get this far. No way. But yeah, I'm really happy about my random gothic-y font that I just made up on the spot. I added like little crosses inside them and things like that. Just trying to go off all the Ouija boards that I'd seen online. Try and match that style a little bit, but then also try and make it my own as well. And there we go, the yes and no. And then you put those on, and voila! There it is. I added 2 extra little flourishes next to the yes and no, using the silver pen, of course I did. And that's it for the board. And look at it, it's the most beautiful thing. Ugh. So yeah, stuck those on, finally, at last. There we are, stuck on. I had some wood glue that I used for that. And at this point, I am so impressed with myself. It's pretty much what I had in my head at the start, so I'm very surprised how this turned out. So now we get to work on the actual planchette. Don't think I didn't forget about the planchette. So I had an extra one of these wooden roses, and I thought, I don't know why I thought this, I just thought, let's stick this rose onto the planchette. Because why not? We have one left over, let's just make it work somehow. So in with the wood glue. It's very stringy, it's nasty stuff, messy. And then I plant it down at the bottom there. And I also thought that because it sticks out, those 2 little bits that stick out at the bottom, they're like handles. They're like handlebars. I can like use them, like I can put my hands on those when I like use the planchette. And it like, yeah, it was kind of like little handlebars for the planchette. I thought that was kind of fun. And because I was on a time crunch and I was getting a bit nervous about the time, I didn't have much time left, I decided to get that gold paint back out and just absolutely smother it in the gold paint. The entire thing. And this was just so fun. This was the most satisfying thing out of the whole project. Just absolutely going crazy with this gold paint and covering the entire planchette, just pure gold. And it looks so good. It's the most simple thing I've done, and yet it's the best looking thing. Isn't that always the case when you do stuff? It's like, the most basic bits look the best. So annoying. But yeah, golden planchettes, and it goes really well. Yeah, I decided not to mess around with that one and just have it pure gold. Because the board itself has lots of gold in it anyway, so and with the rose it just totally matches, so it's fine. Absolutely fine. Does the job, and it's beautiful too. So I've just added a tiny little bit of my protection magic process that I went through. So what I normally do is I rub my hands together first to try and get that bit of energy going and that bit of heat from rubbing the hands together. I often use my hands and like just my voice to do stuff. And then I've got some special water in this lovely perfume bottle. And it's not moon water actually, it's the water from the special healing water well from Mother Shipton's cave in Knaresborough. So yeah, I thought that would be way more powerful than just moon water. So I've left in this clip in its full entirety just to show you how long it takes. So I've planted my hands on the board with the water, and it's a private moment, so I'm not going to show you the actual sound, But in a nutshell, I'm basically saying out loud what I want this board to do. In particular, I want it to be only for contacting my higher self, and I also want it to only contact my spirit guide, who you will know a bit about if you watched my Book of Shadows tour. And I'm basically just channeling my energy into the board with my hands. I'm trying to funnel in all that good, protective, positive energy into the board itself. And all this time I was just saying out loud what I want it to do. And then there was 2 big handprints of water, which you can't really see on the camera, but yeah. And then I use a bit more of the water, to just write a couple of, I think actually no, it was one protective symbol on it. Just to kind of lock it down, you know what I mean? Just lock it down. Because we don't want anything bad or negative to come out of this. Should I use it? I must emphasize I've not actually used it yet. It definitely needed to have a bit of protection magic put into it for when if I end up using it. So yeah, protective symbols drawn in water. You can do the same thing with oils if you have any. Yeah, moon water also does the trick. And then I'm not a fan of smoke. Chronic illness reasons, I don't do well with smoke, so I don't smudge things. I use sound to cleanse things, and I use sound to kind of get that frequency in there. So I used my singing bowl to do the job for that. I have a bell as well, but the singing bowl just felt right for that moment. Just trying to get that positive energy into this thing. And yeah, that's just a little bit of behind the scenes of my protection rituals. And there we have it. We're done. Ah! Sorry, getting excited again. Yeah, perfect, beautiful. I'm so happy with how this turned out. For something so spooky, definitely a job well done. And just even if this ends up being only ornamental, I'll still be very, very happy with it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Have a fun and spooky time for Samhain, people. Bye bye now.